students, welcome you all on the behalf of Rahul Anand tutorials. So now let's begin with the very interesting topics which are often being asked in terms of your NEET, often the Aiims, often the All India Pre-Medical Examination. So these are literally belonging from which are the chapters of your book. So these are belonging from the anatomy of the flowering plants. So today we are going to study about what? So today we are going to study about the plant tissue system. So when we are talking about the plant tissue system, you have to understand the certain facts as well as the things in it. So now let's understand about these means what are actually the plant tissue system. So when we are talking about this, in this case what will be happening? So based on the location, what will be happening? So based on the location, the plant tissue are particularly being varied with reference to what? With reference in terms of the function as well as the structure. As well as you are very clear about that means what are actually the function as well as the structure. Remember, so we are often having in case of the here in terms of the merismatic tissue as well as what? As well as these are coming under from what case? So these are belonging from the primary one. So these are belonging from the primary tissue. After that you are having the secondary tissue. So in the primary tissue we are having what things? In the primary tissue we are having the intercalary meristem as well as what? Here when in terms of what? In the second case we are having the lateral meristem here, of course. As well as when we are talking about these cases, you are very clear about that. Means what are actually the intercalary meristem. So these are having what things? So these are having the shoot as well as the root rays, as well as the shoot meristem, as well as the here. When in term we are often having the apical meristem. Thus, in the apical meristem you will be having what? So in the apical meristem you will be having the shoot apical meristem as well as the root apical meristem. As well as in the case of the intercalary meristem, you are very clear about that. Remember? So in this case what will be happening? So these are generally being found with reference to the mature region of what? Of the here main term of the meristem. After that you are having the secondary meristem. So in the secondary meristem we are having what? So in this case we are having the lateral life. Of course, as well as when we are talking about these cases, these are oftenly being further divided in term of what? In term of the lateral meristem. So these are often coming under what case? So these are containing what? So these are containing the cambium case. Remember? So we are having the vascular cambium as well as what? As well as the here main term of the cord cambium. As well as when we are talking about the case of the cord cambium, so this will be having what? So this will be having the bar projection. As well as you are very clear about that, means what are actually the bar. As well as when we are talking about the second case, in terms of what? In terms of the cord cambium, as well as the vascular cambium. So vascular cambium are what? So this will be particularly bearing what things? So this will be particularly bearing the xylem as well as the phloem. Often you are very clear about that, means what are actually the xylem as well as the phloem. Remember? So now let's understand about these, means what are actually the xylem as well as the phloem. Remember? So xylem are what? So these are literally composed of the dead what? So these are composed of the dead cells. As well as when we are talking about the role of the xylem, so these are playing important role to transport what? To transport the water as well as the minerals. We are very clear about that, means what are actually the minerals as well as the water. So minerals will be what? The essential biocomponents such as what? Such as the carbon, then hydrogen, often you are having the boron, then what? Then the calcium, often in term of what? Often in term of the molybdenum, often in term of what? Often in term of the phosphorus, then the calcium. Formula is what? So formula is Ca. Now after that you are often having the phosphorus cases. It is after that these are often being further divided in term of what? So your xylem are particularly being divided in term of the three broad categories. So these are actually what? So these are the tracheids, then what? Then the basils as well as the xylem parenchyma. So when we are talking about what are actually the here main terms of the tracheids. So tracheids are what? So these are particularly bearing the tubular-like structure, often playing important role to transport what? Often playing important role to transport the water as well as the minerals. After that you are having what? So after that we are having the vesicles. As well as you are very clear about that, means what are actually the basils, resembling as well as understood what are actually that. So these are particularly the final end, which particularly traps what? Which particularly traps, tell me, the here many term the ingredients of the water as well as the minerals. Often when we are talking about the basils case, so these are particularly composed of what things? So these are particularly composed of here many term of the dead cells, just like similar in term of what case? In term of the tracheids case. Often these are bearing what? So these are often bearing the tubular like structure. So these are often known as what? So these are often known as the tubular body resemblance, of course. After that, in the third case, we will be having what? So we will be having the xylem parenchyma. Remember, as well as understood. So these are literally composed of the living cells. Mean what? Mean of the xylem parenchyma. As well as its role are particularly what? Playing important role to store what? To store the here main term of the food ingredients. After that you are having the phloem case, remember, as well as understood. So in the case of the phloem, what is happening? So these are playing important role in order to transport, as well as in this case the transportation mechanism with reference to what? With reference to the what? So with reference to the food ingredients will be taking place in terms of what? In terms of the bidirectional cases. As well as the bidirectional transport literally occur in the case of what? In the case of the phloem. Often in this case what will be happening? Often in this case the transportation mechanism will be occupying with reference to what? With reference originating from the leaves region. Then what? Then to the rest portion of the body. As well as when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the region in which the phloem will be present. Remember? So this will be present in terms of the side region of what? Side region of the vascular bundle. Of course, as well as when we are talking about the case of the xylem, remember? So in this case what will be happening? So in this case the unidirectional flow of energy will be taking place, of course, as well as playing important role to transport what? Meant of the xylem, playing important role to transport the meant of the water and minerals with reference to what? With reference, tell me, with reference to the plant body as well as to the aerial part of the what? With reference to the in term of what? With reference to the plant body, in term of what? In term of the root towards what? To the aerial part of the plants. As well as its presence will be what? So its presence will be actually in the between of the vascular bundle. As well as you are very clear about that, means what are actually the reason of the vascular bundle. So these are literally coming under from what case? Tell me. So these are literally coming under, tell me, coming under from the in terms of the secondary meristem. Literally means what? So literally coming under from the lateral meristem. In these we will be having the cambium, and from the cambium we are having the cord cambium as well as the meant of the vascular cambium. So your vascular cambium are particularly having these things in terms of what? In terms of the what? The xylem as well as the phloem. So now let's understand about these case meant of the plant. So now let's understand about this meant of what? Meant of the plant tissue system. So in this case we will be having what? So in this case we will be having the epidermal tissue. So when we are talking about the epidermal tissue, so these are actually what? So these are the outermost protective covering with reference to what? So the epidermal tissue are the outermost protective covering with reference to what? With reference to your plant body. And you are very clear about that. Means what are actually the plant body. Often these are particularly being divided in terms of the three broad categories. Let's understand about this means what are actually the plant tissue system. So in this case we are having what? So in this case we are having the epidermal tissue. Talking about what are actually the epidermal tissue. So these are what? So these are the outermost protective covering with reference to what? With reference to the plant body. As well as when we are talking about these case, in terms of what? In terms of the epidermal tissue. So these are often being further divided in terms of the three broad categories. So these are actually what? So these are the epidermal appendage. Then we are having the stomata. Then we are having the epidermis. Now, so let's understand about these means what are actually the epidermis. So these are particularly composed of what? So these are particularly composed of the single layer of cells. As well as you are very clear about that, means what are actually the cells. Remember? So these are the building block of life. As well as when we are talking about these cases, in terms of what? In terms of the epidermis. Particularly. So these are particularly composed of what things? So these are particularly composed of the pancreas. Then what? So these are oftenly having what? So these are oftenly having the mild amount of the cytoplasm. As well as what? As well as these are often having the larger amount of the vacuoles. As well as when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the cytoplasm. So it will be present, but in what ratio? So it will be present, but in terms of the in terms of the smaller quantity or either in terms of the mild ratio. So cytoplasm are what? So cytoplasm are actually the fluid substances literally present in terms of what? In terms of the cell content, as well as in terms about 80% of the cell organelles are literally being merged with reference to what? With reference in these particularly cytoplasm. Often when we are talking about these cases, means what are actually the what? The cell organelles. Remember? So these are nothing else but the nucleus. Then what? Then the nucleolus. Often you are having these things such as what? Such as you are having the ribosomes. As well as what? As well as the lysosomes, as well as the vacuoles, as well as what things? As well as the centrioles, as well as the Golgi complex, the Golgi apparatus. Then the endoplasmic reticulum, as well as in terms of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, as well as the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. In the plant cell, as well as the animal cell, particularly varies with reference to the meant of the flagella, as well as the cilia. We will be understanding about that in terms of what? In terms of our next lecture. But primarily when we are talking about these cases, in terms what are actually the cytoplasm. So these are what? So these are actually the cell organelles, as well as in these particularly these are bearing the fluid like substances. Often in this case 80% of the fluid will be actually what? So your 80% of the fluid in terms of what? In terms of the centrioles will be actually the water.